Base God, Ableton live session. I'm going to try and go with a harder style of techno. And keep in mind, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have used Ableton sparsely for about a month total. So you're going to learn with me. It's going to be, it's not going to sound, it might sound great, but there's probably a million better ways to do what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do what I've learned. So we're going to start. I could use a sample pack, a nice driving kick that's already been made and processed. That seems too easy. We'll just start with an 808. Go to a nice, simple core kit. We first need to get our drum rack. Plug that in there. And where are we? Core kit. So your bread and butter, your staple. I'm not going to play around with this too much. I've got an already built-in kit that I'm going to use to create color and a bit more depth and texture. So we'll get into that shortly. First need to write our pattern, which I mean, that's a stock standard, really. You put that in there. I don't know what I'm doing. Yep. There we go. Okay, where is bass drum? Bop, bop, bop. I did not mean to do that. Yep. Quantize. I want to go into the physics behind that, but it snaps to each bar. So that'll sound nice and tight. Very robotic. Techno's not usually at 120, at least not hard techno, so we're gonna 155. All right. And now let's fuck this 808 up. Let's just fucking grab it by the balls and just mutilate it. Ready? So, first, get some reverb, because techno's all about reverb. Yep. Full stereo. And I don't have a recipe for this. This, unfortunately, is trial and error. Don't rely too much on graphs and numbers. You want to train your ears to figure out what combinations of what sounds the best. I also want to iterate that the order of your effects will ultimately give you a different sound. If I apply reverb, amp, and delay, and then apply delay, reverb, and whatever else I want to put in, the sound's going to be different. So keep that in mind. The order matters. Something I just learned, so I wanted to pass that on. So we want to give this some drive. Distort the fuck out of it. I did want some distortion. Keep it in mono. You get this thing called a stereo field. So when you have bass coming in stereo, they will collide, create the stereo field. So whilst you're mixing and producing, keep your bass in mono, and then at the end, put it in stereo. color. And now what I like to do is create a delay and select that bouncing rattling effect. If we unsync and try different parameters, maybe 2 and 4, it's kind of like this rebound effect. Cut out some of the high. I always like to put ping pong on. Now we're getting a rumble. We're getting somewhere. Right. I'm not going to do that now. I'm not going to put the delay on. I just wanted to show you guys for now. But what I am going to do is duplicate this punch and create like an undertone, a sort of atmosphere to bring out that rumble. And when you layer them, then you will get that techno rumble, and you'll see when I combine the two. So I'm going to put in a very handy kick punch by Anal. It's definitely not how you pronounce it. I probably butchered it. And this is from stock Ableton plugins. This has just been added to a rack, nice and conveniently, saving me a lot of time. Cool, we are clipping a bit. Might need to put a limiter on this. We don't want any highs. This is going to muddle the rest of our track. Get an 8 going. lo-fi in the best way I can put it. If we allow the highs, then it sort of feels like it sits on top. And that low pass just makes it sit because that first element is also cutting out highs. So apart from our clip, we're finally getting somewhere that I'm happy with. Okay. Let's try a different amp combination. Give it a bit more texture. We are clipping. Let me fix that. Right. So we're going to use stock compressor. You know what? I forget what it is called. That's it. And we're getting fluttery with it. And maybe we'll copy this. Turn that a little 7. That down. Yeah. We'll put this in here as well. Let's drag it in. So now we've got something really kicking. Alright, so we have some energy going. I'm not going to spend too much longer trying to engineer a perfect kick, but I think that'll serve as a good foundation. So now let's go on to, let's do our hi-hats, I think. Now you can choose from an 808. I'm going to use something from one of my samples, or a sample pack that I own. Yeah. So let's start with, no, we're not doing kick. What are we doing? with me. And I want something tight and clean. I want it to not occupy too much space before processing. So maybe I will use an 808. Yeah, okay. I am going to use that. You know what? Let's duplicate that. Copy, paste, get rid of that. We will call this kick. Call this impact. And then we'll call this high. Number 1. Okay, color code it. Just make things a bit nicer. We'll make this green. Okay, let's get another drum bus in here. No, drum rack. There we go. Nice 808 kit. Where are we? Drums. Yep. And then put... Okay, no. And then what you can do, it also sounds quite robotic, so what I would like to do is try changing the velocity on maybe every second hit. Now, I know you can hold Alt. I'm just going to do them each individually. However, you can hold Alt, select, and drag each at the same time. Okay, it sounds a little bit less robotic. It's got dynamics, which is what brings techno to life. Gives it personality. Make it decay quickly. And now we also want reverb. Let's tidy some of this up too. Unnecessary noise in this hat. Probably don't need an 8. Let's do a 3. I do like to use graphic visualizations. I'm going to find one. Okay, that'll do. go and probably do maybe a ride layer on top, but yeah, actually we'll do that. So let's duplicate that. However, use ride. Maybe just every second. Now what you can do is ever so slightly move it off grid so it's slightly off beat, just a little bit, which will give it some variation, and you'll see what I mean in a second. Just the tiniest bit off beat. See, that's too much. Too much. We're going to keep it like that. Okay, I'm definitely going to do more tweaking at some point, but for now, I'm going to start with a melody. So I'm a real big fan OPS in one of their sample pack, Hardest Essential Volumes 3 have some really cool MIDI keys, or patterns I should say, and we're going to find something that we like. Okay, I think I can do something with that. So I'm going to first of all add our trusty best friend wavetable into a MIDI track, not an audio track. So MIDI wavetable right in there. And nice and easy for me, I can just go into this melody that I liked, which I believe very hard style. Okay, yeah. Um, 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 um. not what we're after. What are we at? Half an hour. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, there we go. And then we can just pop that in there. Okay, sure. Really, when I wanted to drag that over, I'll put wavetable in that one. Right. Something's gone aloof here, and I'm not experienced enough to instantly recognize what's gone on. But I want this MIDI progression. Maybe I don't. So if I just double click, and maybe chords layer. Right. I don't think. What is this? 7? Cool. Not everyone's gonna have this. Serum. A great, no, phenomenal synthesizer. Packed with a bunch of stuff. It is unfortunately not free. However, Wavetable has some cool presets. For techno, I'd highly recommend Sawtooth Wave. What I like to do per se is to use the second oscillator with a sawtooth. I'll give you a sample of what that sounds like. There are so many things you can do with this, and Unfortunately, there's no formula. You just have to play around, find what works, and go from there, which clearly comes with experience because I'm, to be honest, winging it. So I'm going to use Serum, and there's a lot more versatility and range of sounds I can get out of this, which for me, I want to use and play around with. So we go to our plugins, add Serum, and try and find something I like, I think. So let's mute everything else. And it's catchy. And the beauty is with techno, you really don't need a lot going on. You start with a catchy lead melody, and that's it, really. You can make it evolve, play around with LFOs, and give it dynamic so it evolves throughout your track. From what I've learned with listening to, top Billboard techno tracks, is that they all have one thing in common. Mainly is that they have a really catchy melody. And it doesn't get more complicated than that, in the sense that it's just a really catchy melody. There's not a lot going on, and they use that melody as a staple to evolve and give it dynamics. That for me is really handy for writing music or learning to write music, because unlike pop songs where you have, 80 different MIDI channels and a lot going on, techno can be a lot simpler. So Sunny sounds cool. I don't really think it fits the theme of what I'm going for, so we'll probably look for something else. Maybe something a bit more harsh. Very cyberpunky. It's cool. Sounds out of tune. That might work. Hipster bass. I'm gonna get a headache if I keep listening to woods. Oh, Ziz, baby, Ziz. I think this is what we want to go for, something of a synth. I like this. That's cool. Now we can play around with the different waveforms. So we have two oscillations. I guess the default on this is this form and just a basic I'm going to end this video shortly. What I do want to do is... So obviously I can process this, make it mesh well. I think for the time being, I'm just going to make a bottom melody that sits underneath this one. And we're going to use the identical MIDI layer, just with a different sound. So I'm going to duplicate this, and I think also open up Serum. So that should sound the same. Yep. Now I want it to give harmony to what's above it. So it needs to sit... Oh, that would be a top melody. We could do that, use that on top of this, and have this below. That sounds kind of cool. There's a lot going on here. It just doesn't work. This is on the right track. YouTube music. So the possibilities are endless. I haven't even scratched the surface of what can be done here. I'm going to wrap this up. This was more so a really introductory lesson to getting your head around sort of instrumental arrangements for this particular genre. So I'd probably use 2 melodies right here. 2 hi-hats, well, a hi-hat and a ride. You could have a second sort of high-hitting instrument, like maybe a bongo or another, style of hi-hat. And from there, it's really just going into your arrangement view and then tweaking. So maybe bring in your kick and have that impact come in at some point, create a break, introduce that first melody, tease it a little bit. Maybe I'll do a second part and try and finish the song off. I'm not sure. But yeah, cheers.